Hello, welcome to More. I'm here today with the author of next week's play, The Dacha, by Helen Kluger. Helen, you're very welcome. It's nice to have you here.
It's lovely to be here. It's a wonderful place.
Let's talk a little bit about the play, first of all. Tell us a little bit about it.
Right. It's set in Moscow in a very, very dilapidated flat that has no former glories. And in this flat we find two characters. Madam, who is a retired ballet teacher and former dancer, one of the greats, and she's being attended by her servant, Luba, who's a sort of babushka. And Madam is living in penury, and Luba has no rights because she can't find her pension. She's illiterate. And so Madam is trying to sort of help her get her papers in order.
Yes. And it's an extraordinary relationship, isn't it? Because it's many layers.
Well, it's secrets and lies, and without giving anything away, is that they both know each other's secrets. And in the course of the play, these secrets, as often it does in life, when something, sort of the poison bursts, and we learn things about these two women.
Yes. And as well as having secrets, they have this very complex relationship that they love each other,
well,
they need each other.
There's a complete dependency.
Yes.
And Madam sort of, goes around like a sort of empress, considering herself. Well, she is, she had her wonderful day. And Luba is constantly thinks, oh, I'm with Madam, and but Madam always puts Luba firmly in her place. But she's a very cunning servant. She will go out, she will find the cheapest food, she knows her way around the markets of Moscow.
What was it where did it come from?
It came from two things. I started as an actress, and before I went to Lambda, I went to stage school, the arts educational. And I grew up with these ballet girls, even though I did drama. They were always a presence. It was, and is, a very prestigious ballet school. So one sees the sacrifice that they make. And listen, this is the year of Black Swan, that wonderful film. So, and also my background, I come from Czech parentage. And I've always had a love of all things Russian. I've never been there, but I don't know why, but I just think the arts there are so wonderful. And it's the merging of these two worlds, plus the fact it is funny. Let me emphasise that.
Well, it is.
It's not just my attempt at
I have been to Moscow and St. Petersburg, and I can imagine this play being very well received there. We'll have to see if we can find the right theatre for it.
I think so. I think they'd love it.
Tell me a little bit about your other writing, because you're a London-based writer. We don't know you yet in Scotland. Tell us something about some of the other things you've done.
Well, I've been prolific in radio, and I've written on all subjects from football, tennis, the Holocaust, so my oeuvre is broad.
You have a very personal, obviously, your own story is very closely influenced by the Holocaust.
Well, yes, of course, yes. My mum, Dacha Kluger, is a survivor. She was 2.5 years in various concentration camps, including Terezin, Auschwitz, and liberated at Belsen. And David, this is something. There's not many people who are still living who have been in the vicinity of Eichmann and Mengele, who inadvertently saved her life as slave labour, that are still around. So she's quite a heroine, quite a survivor.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about some of the other radio plays. Tennis?
I've written, my first play was called Footballers' Wives.
Right.
Someone might have made that up. And then I wrote about tennis. And then I wrote about synchronized swimming on the radio, which was a bit of a coup. And through that, I turned that into a screenplay, and that is in pre-production as a film.
Good.
I also was part of an independent radio company with Tessa Jones and Gillian Bevan called Tight Assets.
Right.
Instigated by the great Marilyn Imrie.
Yes, who's worked here a lot.
Who's worked here a lot. And we were the first female sort of independent radio company. And the first play we did was a play of mine called Holding Hands.
Right.
And we had Barbara Lee Hunt and Richard Pascoe in it.
Right.
The husband and wife,
yes.
married. They were wonderful. And Barbara, who I think is should be Dame Barbara Lee Hunt, has been in 3 of my plays. In fact, I've written 2 specifically for her, because I think she's terrific.
I'm interested, this is perhaps, I don't know if it's your first visit to Scotland, but it's your first professional visit to Scotland.
Yes, it is.
How are you finding it?
I absolutely adore it. And I've got to mention one thing, silly me. My biggest claim to fame, radio-wise, is that I wrote something specifically for the internet, which can be downloaded, audible.com. It's called Goose, and it stars Imelda Staunton and Tessa Jones, and that's a thriller, sort of set in Holloway Prison.
Right.
And that's great too.
Good.
And that was one of the best days of my life, because it was, you know, something I did entirely by myself. It was just like radio.
Where can it be downloaded from?
The internet, audible.com, or if you go to Helen Kluger /Goose, you'll get on the website.
Good.
Please download it.
What's next? What have you got up your sleeve?
I've got something that is with Radio 4 called Norman Bows Out, about an old actor who possibly comes, let's say, to the Royal Lyceum to do pantomime, to play Widow Twankey.
Right.
He collapses at rehearsals. They found out that he's got weeks to live, and apart from his sort of abusive boyfriend, there's no one to look after him.
Right.
But his landlady agrees to take him in, because, as she said, you know, she did agree to put him up for 3 months, and it's about their relationship. And there's a ventriloquist's dummy into it. So it's sort of comic, but harsh as well.
And this is for BBC, Radio 4?
This will hopefully be on Radio 4.
Good.
Might be later.
Good, excellent. I hope so. Well, I went yesterday to the first run of Helen's play, the Dacha, and the Dacha.
That's it.
And I have to say, I think there is a treat. It has the lovely Colette O'Neill and Anne Lacey. It's directed by Philip Howard, who's worked here before in our classic cut season, and ran the Traverse Theatre successfully for many years. So it's a great team, and I hope you'll come and enjoy the show. Helen, thank you very much.
Oh, David, thank you. Cheers, or Ms. Drobner, as they say. There we go.